Well, hello YouTube, and a warm welcome to the Essentially Crypto channel. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm your host. And today we're going to look at the MTL. The latest information has come out from the AMA about the MTL fees, and a lot of people have been complaining about them. And I kind of understand why. It's probably an unpopular opinion, this one, from my point of view, but I don't think they're particularly great. Because of what we're already paying already, and I'm going to break that down for you in a moment, but hopefully I'm going to show you why it's not as bad as what you think, maybe, or maybe the opposite, I don't know, but either way, all this is coming up in just a moment's time, so let's go over to the main board, shall we, to see what's going on today. Actually, before I do that, don't forget there was a breach in OpenSea the other day, so be very, very careful when you open emails and all that kind of thing. Basically, what it turned out to be, it wasn't just anyone who had an OpenSea account, although we did recommend to to take your MetaMask off of OpenSea if it was on. But what actually happened was people were clicking on phishing emails that were sent to their email by mistake, and basically that meant that they then signed a contract to say that OpenSea could do what they like, but it wasn't really OpenSea. It was actually a a hacker group or a particular hacker, and therefore they signed contracts to say that they could take whatever they wanted out of their wallet without obviously realizing it. So that's essentially what happened. So be very careful what you click, because even if you had a hardware wallet at that point, you've already allowed the smart contract. If you want to know how to disallow these smart contracts, then I've got a video that I did the other day, which hopefully will help out, so I will link that at the end of this video. But anyway, I digress. Let's move on to the main screen and see what's going on in the world of NFTs and Veve and all that kind of good stuff, shall we? So here we go. So the first thing is this, Mighty Jaxx, the Ink Stories. I don't know if you remember quite a while ago at Decon, I believe it was, they were selling the collectibles of Mighty Jaxx. They were very, very hard to get. They're still hard to get. They're quite expensive in the market. But if you did get one of those, then it means that you are allowed to buy the premium format physical figure that goes with it. So you have to have the NFT in order to be able to qualify for it. If you go to the Veve Digital Collectibles website, or not website, the Twitter, you'll be able to find out all the details you need about exactly what sort of thing you need to be able to do in order to get one of those, okay? But as far as I know, you have to have the collectible, you have to have it by a certain time, you have to fill out a form, and then you have to then join Mighty Jaxx as well, so that way you can buy the collectible, etc, etc. So there's all these different things you have to do, so go over to the website. But what's really cool about this is it's one of those, again, it's bringing utility to an NFT, isn't it? In the sense that if you didn't have that NFT, you wouldn't be able to buy this Mighty Jaxx collectible, which means that maybe more people would want to buy the Mighty Jaxx collectible, so that way they can then buy the Mighty Jaxx NFT, so that way they can buy the collectible to go with it. So it's a whole physical and normal one, or digital one, sort of molded together, which is really cool to see. So yep, that's that. Let's move on to the next thing, and that is this. Lots of speculation to see what it is. What is it? What's it going to be? I personally have my feelings that because it's still Black History Month, then it's probably going to be, it looks a bit like something from Black Panther. But, I don't know, could also be the Lion King or something like that. The reason I say Black Panther is because of the purple look to it as well. It's very much a Black Panther-y type colour. A few other people said about that on Twitter as well, and that kind of thing. So if you go to Veve Collectibles Twitter, once again, I'll link it in the comments, or I think it's already linked anyway, then you can sort of, pop your little finger across and see what you think it is. Or maybe by the time this video comes out, they may even have announced it already anyway. So therefore, I might be looking like a turnip, because this video comes out and you go, well, already told us that, but I didn't know before I released it, so just to let you know. So anyway, so yeah, that's that, possibly Black Panther. But anyway, so right, I'm going to move back a second, because we're going to do this in stages. So let's go over the MTL, shall we? Because basically all these details were released for the MTL, and it was kind of a bit sort of one of those things where you're listening to the AMA and it sounds like it's going to be really good, and then they tell you the fee, and then I was kind of like, okay, that doesn't sound bad, but then when I sort of put it all together, I was kind of like, wow, that actually is quite large. And there were several things in there that I thought made it seem even worse than it actually was. Okay, so let's have a look at the first details. The first details are that it's 1,000 gems minimum, so you have to have 1,000 gems in your account. Now, I personally think this is a bit of a mistake. Now, I don't know if this is going to be the case forever, or whether it's just going to be at the start of the MTL, or what it's going to be. I don't think it should be forever, for start. I think that they should change that. And the reason I think they should change that is because they're aiming for the mainstream. And if they put it as 1,000 gems minimum in your account, that is going to turn a lot of people off. Because the idea with this, obviously, is that, you know, I say to my friend who likes James Bond, I say, oh, you know, Veve are doing James Bond NFTs. Oh, I've heard of NFTs. What are they? Oh, NFTs, is that a font? You know, and tell him what it is. And then he's, oh, that's interesting. Oh, I like James Bond. I'll get one. So then he goes to the Veve app, and then he puts in his 50, or he looks and he goes, oh, they're $50. Shall I get one? Shall I not? Oh, yeah, I think I'll get one. And then he buys one, okay? And then, how long does it? He doesn't care about anything else. He's got his collectible. He's got his Veve collectible, whatever. And then he just, you know, he does his thing. And then it starts going up, and he thinks, oh, I might sell that. But then he can't, because if he's only got one collectible and he can't sell it, he's literally tied in. And then what happens if the opposite happens? What happens if he says, okay, well, I'll put my €50 in to buy gems? Okay, so he buys these gems. The drop comes round, and he doesn't know this, but it gets sold out within just a few short seconds. So then he's got 50 gems in the account, and he thinks like, oh, okay, well, I'll just cash out those gems. And then he goes to cash out, and he finds out that he's got to put 1,000 gems in order to cash out. Plus, he's got to pay a 10% fee in order to cash out, and he's got to pay a wire transfer fee in order to cash out. So basically, by doing that, it means that he has literally lost £50 or whatever he put. Like in England, it'd be £50 because you have to pay £1 a gem. So, and don't get me even started on that, but he's literally lost £50. He's put in £50, he hasn't managed to get the drop, he doesn't want anything else, and now he's lost £50. So I think that when people find out about this, I think it's going to deter a lot of people, and it's actually going to close off the market to mainly crypto investors and people who are just trying to make a quick buck on the Veve platform, which a lot of people are trying to do, obviously. You know, I myself, I'm not really a collector. I wasn't a collector before. I was into crypto. I got into Veve because of the collection side, and I like it now because my collection has gone up, and I pretty much try and get every drop just because of the fact that if I don't get it, then it doesn't matter, I don't pay for it, and if I do get it, then normally it's worth something in the future. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to cash out straight away or anything like that, but the fact that it grows in value is obviously good. However, if I was just a, you know, before I was even into crypto, I wouldn't even contemplate going to the Veve app and buying anything. No matter how much of a fan of that thing I was, I wouldn't even contemplate it because of the fact that I have to put £50 in, say, to buy it. And if I don't get it, that £50 is stuffed. Literally. Because even as Reece said, you can put, it's a minimum of 50 gems to withdraw anyway, but you have to have 1,000 gems in there, which doesn't really make any sense to me, but minimum 50 gems. But he said that, being honest with you, by the time you withdraw those things, then it means that your 50 gems are basically going to be worth nothing. You're not going to make anything from it. You're not getting anything back. So I understand the fact that they've got to pay fees on withdrawals and stuff like that, but at the same time, making it so high, it just means I think that mainstream adoption is going to be harder, like a lot harder, in my opinion. You know, let me know what you think in the comments below, whether you think it's all a load of rubbish and you think that, you know, mainstream's going to come flooding in anyway. Because in my opinion, a mainstream person is not coming in and spending thousands and thousands on the app. They're coming in to buy something that they like. And if they don't manage to buy it, they just expect to say, oh, okay, I'll just get my gems back. They're not expecting to say, you can't have them back, mate. Because that is essentially, it's not good customer service, is it, for a start? And also, if they're not into crypto, they don't know crypto, or they're not into NFTs, then that's not going to make them very happy. So, you know, I don't think, well, no, I suppose it's a trouble with getting into crypto, isn't it, in the first place? You put your real money into crypto, you're then playing around with digital money, and then to finally cash out at the end, you know, I still haven't cashed out anything in crypto. Every time I make gains, I then put it back into another crypto or something like that. So therefore, for it to be a case of, you know, your crypto is stuck in there, is going to be very difficult for people to comprehend that their money is basically gone. They've essentially got to admit they lost it, haven't they, I suppose. So that's the thing about the 50 gems. The 10% fee, I get it, but I still think it's high. And then you've got the wire fee of $25 as well. Now, that's actually the bank, they said, that pays that, or $35, depending on where you are and all that sort of thing. So that, again, is not a fee that they can contend with. And probably the 10% fee, to be honest, they probably don't make anything from that. It's just the MTL provider they've decided to use or something is doing that fee. But, you know, let's have a look how it affects the thing, because maybe you disagree with all this, or maybe you agree with it, I don't know, put it in the comments for me, let me know, because I'd really love to know. So, here we go. So let's imagine, okay, let's imagine that you buy a collectible for 50 gems, Okay, or $50. Let's just say we're in America, everyone's in America, it's all $50. Now, incidentally, as I said, when I was buying collectibles, especially at the beginning, it was £50. So therefore, when you equate $50 to £50, then you're actually probably paying about $80 for a collectible versus paying $50 for a collectible, give or take. Obviously the rates fluctuate, etc., etc. So just bear that in mind as well. But for now, to make it easy, we're going to do everything in American dollars. Okay, so you buy a collectible for $50. Right? Now, obviously, we have to have a minimum of 1,000 gems in our account. So, therefore, let's not calculate that. Let's just say you managed to sell it for 5,000, or that's what you want to sell it for. You see the prices are going up. Now, you might be looking at this going, well, that's never going to happen. But that's not true at all because, like, for instance, Superman was about $50, I think, if I remember rightly. And, it now went up to 6.9 or something like that. So, it's very easily a possibility that this could happen. Okay? So, let's have a look. So, $50, and then it goes to 5,000. And you think, oh, I'm going to sell that. So first of all, there's two things you've got to think of. Firstly, is it one of those, like Disney, that's got the 6% fee? Because if it is, then obviously you've got to take 6% off that straight away. So therefore, let's do the calculation with that for now because that's the highest amount. So let's say it's a Disney something, a Disney golden moment, whatever, it's gone to $5,000, you fancy selling it and you want to take the money out. So here's what would happen. You would sell your collectible at $5,000 or you put it on the marketplace at $5,000. Yep, somebody clicks on it, they buy it, happy days, they've got a collectible for $5,000 and into your account would jump $4,575 because you've essentially got to pay 8.5% fee because it's 2.5% that goes to Veve, which is fair enough, and then the 6% goes to Disney. So, which is crazy because they're getting 6% on all after sales as well as getting the percentage when they first sell it as well, which is obviously why they're so happy with the system because it's absolutely awesome for them. They're getting a massive percentage every time. So, but people don't seem to be worried about that because at the end of the day, you paid 50 for it, you've sold it for that amount, you've still ended up with 4,575. Okay, so that's how many gems you now have in your account, which means you now have enough to cash out. Okay, so when you cash out, when you pay the 10% MTL fee just on its own, you were then left with 4,117.50 cents. Okay, so that's what you're left with. So you've already lost close to $900, give or take, haven't you? Then on top of that, you've got to pay a wire fee of $25. So you're going to pay your wire fee of $25 or more, depending on which bank you're going with, etc. And that will leave you with $4,092 that will then land in your bank account. Okay? So that's not bad, is it? You bought something for $50 and you've managed to make $4,092. But then on top of that, you've obviously got to pay tax. Now, depending on where you are and which country you're in, then I can't tell you which one that will be. But just for example, in Spain, all crypto is 21%. That's just what it is. So 21%. So therefore, we're going to take 21% away from it just to make it easy. Pretend you're all in Spain, even though you're paying in American dollars. It's getting very confusing, I know. But obviously, every single country is going to have different tax laws, etc., etc. Some are going to be higher, some are going to be lower. It's just the way it is. So therefore, in Spain, it's 21% from what I can gather for all crypto-related things. Again, correct me in the comments if I'm completely wrong. But either way, we'll take 21% as a rough guesstimate because that's what tax is. So that leaves you with $3,233.08. So basically, you've made from $50, you have made yourself close to, nearly $3,200 or more, isn't it? Or just under that. So really, that's not bad, is it? However, in order to get to that, you've lost approximately $1,800 of your original investment to be able to get to that point. Does that make sense? So therefore, if you think about it, you managed to make 5,000. You haven't really. You've managed in the end, after paying tax and all the fees and everything like that. Now, I guess you could argue that if you weren't to pay tax, maybe you're lucky, maybe you have to earn a certain amount of crypto before you have to pay tax on it or whatever, then you end up with $4,092. So you've pretty much paid $1,000 just to be able to remove your money, right? Which is quite a hefty fee when you think about it. So now let's look at what you can actually do if you wasn't doing the Veve thing. So not the Veve thing, the Disney thing, because obviously some of the collectibles on the app are not not attached to Disney at all in any way, shape, or form, or James Bond, I think, has got a 6% fee, and some of them have got 6% fees, some of them haven't. Like I believe Tokidoki doesn't have a fee, DC doesn't have a fee, or anything like that. So let's pretend that you bought a, for $50, maybe a Dragon Girl, it's $50 Dragon Girl. You'd end up, because the Veve fee is only 2.5%, you end up with $487. $4,875 even. With the MTL fee, that would take 10% off, so therefore it would be $4,387.50, and then with the wire fee of 25, you end up with $4,362.50, and then from there you've got tax, so therefore you would end up again 21%, so you'd end up with $3,446.38. So therefore that's a little bit better because obviously you haven't got to pay the 6% Disney fee, but you've still lost what is it, close to whatever it is, 3,400. Wait, is that figures correct? I'm just gonna, let me just go back one because I'm just gonna check. Oh yeah, that is, yeah, that's right, yeah, because the other one was 3,233 off a $5,000 investment. I think I said it wrong. I said that you lost one, that you've lost about almost $2,000 there, haven't you, basically, from a 5,000 investment, or like 1,800. So therefore, yeah, so it's 3,446.38. As you can see, I'm not a tax professional, I'm not an accountant, I'm not a mathematician or anything like that. So therefore, take these numbers with a pinch of salt, please. Okay, but this is just my kind of workings out as I sort of see it. So therefore, obviously, if you don't sell a Disney moment or something like that, and the others go up, then obviously you're a little bit better off. So that's a little bit better. We like that. That's not too bad. Okay, so now let's look at if you went on Telegram right at this moment to sell your wares, because that is the only option at the moment, okay? So you got 4,575 for the Disney and Veve once again. So you sold it for 5,000. You managed to get 4,575 after the taxes for Disney and everything was taken out, or taxes, you know what I mean. Then on Telegram, you can only sell things for either 50 cents or 60 cents at the moment. 60 cents on a gem is probably what it is. Some people sell them at 50 cents or 40 cents if they really want to. So let's use the 60 cents a gem one just to make it a little bit nicer for you, and you end up with $2,745, which is a huge drop. Okay, and then after that you've obviously got to pay tax, so 21%. That leaves you with $1,807.12 once you've paid tax of 21%. Or if you're really, really unlucky and you get somehow brought into a scam, then it means that you end up with nothing. So basically you went from 5,000 down to nothing because you've been scammed. At least when you're going through the MTL and that kind of thing, you cannot be scammed because you're going through the legitimate channels. Whereas when you go through the, any of these channels, you can be. Now the same can be said for eBay as well. Similar thing, you can sell on eBay, but of course you've got the issues once again of you can be scammed on eBay. So, but I believe eBay take between 12 and 15%. So therefore that might be something that you look into again. But either way, that's very similar because Disney takes 6%, and then eBay take Disney take that, and then they take 10 for the MTL. So therefore you're looking around about a similar thing. And again, the cost of getting scammed. So that's that. Okay. So now, lots of people have been saying, oh, well, wait for Omi to come in because Omi is going to be the main thing. And don't worry, you're going to be able to cash out really easy. It's not going to cost you anything because basically Reece said that the other day. So let's look at the costs that it's going to cost you to go and cash out using Omi, okay? So now remember, this is not coming until Q3. Okay, so this is sort of July, September time, if they're on track. If they're not on track, then obviously it'll be later, okay? So we've got 50 to 5,000 once again. We've got the Disney and the Veve fee, so let's just say it's the Disney and Veve fee. We'll use the Disney thing all the time because most people have got Disney golden moments, that kind of thing. That's what they want to cash out. And then you've got a 0.5% Omi burn that you, as the seller, have to pay as well. Now, I'm using 0.5% because that's tier 3 in the staking. Now, this may change. If you go to tier 4, which is a higher level of staking, it's 0.25%. But if you're at tier 3... then, and now they're going to change this. They're going to change this in the article. It's come out once and they're going to redo it, aren't they? So therefore, you've got to remember that these numbers may change and fluctuate slightly. But either way, no matter what happens, as the buyer, you have to pay in some Omi as well. when you're doing. And also, as the seller, you have to pay not only your fees in gems, so your Disney fee and your thingy fee, so therefore we'll just pretend that's gems essentially. And incidentally, this is $5,000 worth of OMI. Okay, so whatever OMI is worth at that time. And you would have to have some gems in there as kind of like a gas fee as well. So let's just say it's $5,000 worth of OMI, which probably by that time will be probably about 10 OMI, maybe something like that. So, so therefore, yeah, $5,000 worth of OMI. So 4,552, and then you've got your, and that's because you've got your minus 0.5% OMI burn. So they take that away from you as well. That's automatically burned, which leaves you with 4,552. And then after that, you don't have to pay an MTL fee because you're not going MTL. But that 4,552 is now sitting in your OMI wallet. Okay. So now, if you wanted to cash that out, you're on layer 2, remember? So then you'd have to pay probably around about a $60 bridging fee. We don't know exactly what it's going to be because Ethereum gas prices fluctuate. But the other day, when I did something for Arbitrum for the Treasure DAO, it cost me $60 to take it back again, basically. So it cost me $60 bridging fee. And Axie, when I've done Axie, the same thing with the bridging fee, it's cost me between, 60 to 120 depending on the time. So exactly the same. Ethereum fees, we never know what's going to happen. They go up and down. The least it will probably cost you is around about 35. The most it will cost you is around about 160, I would say, depending on the day. So let's just take an average fee, $60 for a bridge. So therefore, that's that. So that then bridges you into your MetaMask, okay? Because you can only bridge from the OMI app straight into your MetaMask. Then once you've done that into your MetaMask, you then have to pay another fee to transfer it to the exchange. So probably about another $60 fee. Let's just roughly round it up again, because again, it's Ethereum fees. So depending on what day it is and how much it takes to how much it is to transfer it. So now at this point, you're sending OMI to the exchange. So therefore, you would then end up with 4,432.13, which is the exchange transaction. Okay. So that's including that 60. And then when you get to the exchange, you will actually end up with the 4,432.13. Okay, so that's now sitting on your exchange. But then if you want to cash that out, there is likely to be some kind of fee from your exchange as well. Now, that will vary depending on the exchange you go to as well. Some exchanges are feeless completely. Some take a small percentage. Some take it as a one-off fee. In this occasion, we're just going to use a fee that I was checking up, and crypto.com. If you want to get Ethereum out, then it will cost you $17. If you want to do fiat, apparently it's free. So therefore, let's just pretend that you're getting Ethereum out, because otherwise, other exchanges will have fees, and I don't know for definite. So let's just say $17 as an example. So therefore, that will leave you with $4,415. And then on top of that, you got your tax, 21% once again, which leaves you with $3,487.94. And that is if you sell with OMI. Okay, and that is if you want to cash the OMI out straight away. Now, you could argue that if you sell with OMI, then you're just going to hold on to it anyway. So therefore, that doesn't really apply. The only thing that really applies is that by the time you get to your 60, or maybe to your wallet, you've ended up with 4,552. Or you could argue that you might want to bridge it into your secure wallet, and then you've ended up with 4,492 OMI, basically, or no, dollars worth of OMI. Sorry, beg your pardon. So therefore, you could argue that all of that is kind of immaterial, but the majority of the times when people want to cash out, they're not cashing out because they want to cash out into another crypto or into OMI. They're going to be cashing out because they also want to buy something in real life. But that's not, 100%. So obviously, don't take that once again. So now, this is getting very, 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 very long, isn't it? Now, let's have a look. Oh, no, it's this one. There we go. I almost went through. So the breakdown. So let's have a look at the breakdown. So basically, this is the breakdown of the three options using a Disney collectible as your main collectible. Okay, so if you sell your Disney collectible for 5,000 with the MTL cashing out, you would end up with 3,446.38. That is after you've paid your tax. If you and 21%. If you cash out from Telegram, you would end up with 1,807.12. Because bear in mind, that's the only way to cash out at the moment. So a lot of people are taking that 50 cents a gem or 40 cents a gem. I'm guessing that will probably go up when the MTL comes into place anyway, because they'll have to compete somehow. Nobody's going to want to use Telegram. anymore, and hopefully it goes and dies a death. That's what we want to happen, because then that way people stop getting scammed, because so many people get scammed on a daily basis, and it's really quite serious. It's not very nice. So that's the Telegram, and if you go with the OMI cash out option, then you will get 3,487.94. So when everyone's saying, oh, just wait for OMI to cash out, blah, 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 it's really not going to be that much difference. As you can see, we're talking like $40 difference by the time you add all the fees together. So, you know, therefore, you could argue that, hey, you've done pretty well. You've put in €50 or $50, and you've ended up with, at the very least, well, 1,800, that's for Telegram. Let's say with the MTL, because that's the one that's happening now. Q3 is for the OMI. At the very least, you've ended up with $3,446, which really pretty cool, isn't it? It's not bad for having €50 or $50 invested in the first place. The issue is that you had 5,000. So now you've pretty much lost. What have you lost? You've lost more than 1,500, haven't you? Basically, you've lost more than 1,500 just in the transaction cost to get it back to you. So that is absolutely crazy when you think about it. And someone said to me, well, you know, it's like, because I'm not sure where I stand on this. I don't want to say. I think the cost is too much personally, and I think it will stop mainstream people coming in. Is it too much in the grand scheme of things? Probably not, because of the fact that there's cryptos out there that also charge you. You know, like with Axie, just as an example, I was buying my Axies. I was transferring money from Binance into MetaMask, from MetaMask into the bridge, then getting into Axie. I was then buying and selling my Axies. So I was buying Axies first of all for, you know, a couple of $100. I was then breeding them. I was then getting the money in Ethereum. I had to transfer that Ethereum back to MetaMask, then back to Binance, and then I had to use that to then buy SLP and all that kind of thing. Now, in just a couple of months of doing that, I spent more than 1,000 in just fees alone transferring it around. You know, sometimes it would cost me $90 just to send it from Axie to the bridge. Sometimes it would cost me slightly less. Just depends on the time of day, how much I hurry you in, and all that kind of thing. So therefore, when you think about putting $50 in and getting 3,446 out, then that sounds pretty cool, doesn't it? However, not everybody is in that situation. Not everybody has made profit. A lot of people are buying these things off the market. Now, I've been in the app. I worked it out the other day. My actual Veve birthday is coming up. In fact, the 24th of February is my Veve birthday. That's the first time I went into the app. Well, not the first time I went in the app. That's the first time I bought gems to be able to buy something. And incidentally, to give you an idea of how far away this was, when I bought the gems, when I went a week later to buy a collectible, that specific collectible could only be bought in US dollars. So therefore, I was still stuck with 50 gems, and at the time, that was a lot of money for me anyway, and it still is a lot of money for me, but now being in crypto and getting gains and transferring them, I don't think about it as much. But when you're actually taking real money and putting it in, you do think about it, because at the end of the day, you put $50 in, or 50 pounds in my case, I've absolutely no idea when I'm going to get that £50 back. I didn't know if it was a scam. I didn't know any of that sort of stuff. So I put my £50 in gems, went to buy my collectible, and it said, you can only buy this in US dollars. So I therefore had to get my credit card out, and I had to buy the collectible at a later date, and that's what I ended up doing. So my first one I bought, the little metal horse, can't remember his name, Metello, was actually bought in US dollars, and I still had $50 left in the app. So then when I finally did go to a drop, because the drops were sort of few and far between then, the first drop I was on was the Nightwing drop, and I managed to get myself a Batman, which incidentally I sold the other day, or I got two, but I sold one of them the other day for, you know, an okay profit. So therefore I've then put that back into other collectibles, but the point is that I didn't cash out with it. So, but there are a lot of people who haven't had that luxury of getting, you know, these good collectibles on the drop. So they've been paying a lot of money for them in the market. So in order for them to actually make any money now, by the time you put in all of these fees, it means that their collectible has to go very, very high. So, you know, I do feel for people. I understand it can be frustration. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, you know, they're losing 30% in the first place from the Apple fees and the Android fees. And I completely get that. I understand that. We spoke about this a long time ago. I realized this pretty quickly when I was doing videos, probably about 5 or 6 videos in, you know, way back in March or whenever it was. And I said to Reese, I literally went to Reese on Telegram and I said to him, what's the situation with this? Because we're putting dollars into the app, and then they're taking 30%. How are you going to do like for like dollars with it? And they basically said, this is what he said. He said, we're going to take a loss on that. is what he said. That's what he basically said in Telegram to me. And I was like, okay, so I did a video on it and said Omi takes an L because they were going to take a loss on everything. And now people are saying, oh, well, you know, they've got that 30%, they need to recoup it somehow. And I understand that. But what I'm saying is that it's kind of a cost of doing business as well. You've got they decided to go to the app. They decided to go to Apple, Android and do this. They could have just gone to a web platform straight away, but they probably realised that it wouldn't take off as much. And I must admit, if it was on a web platform, I think not as many people would be involved in it because on your phone it's super easy, isn't it? Click buy, you're done. With web platforms, it's more, you know, faffing around basically. You've either got to go to a computer to do it, or you can probably do it on your phone, but it's just not as easy as an app. So therefore, they pay those 30% fees, which I get, but that is part of their cost of business. Every month they would get, you know, or whatever it is, they would get that cost put to them, and then they have to decide if the things they're selling are worth it with that 30% fee. They shouldn't be adding extra fees on at a later date in order to try and claw that fee back, if that makes sense. So I don't think they're actually doing that. I think when people say, oh, you know, they've got to do it because of the 30% extra or they're losing, I don't think that's what they're doing. I think basically what's happened is the MTL company that they're using or whatever to do the transactions have put in a fee. Komi have added their little bit on top just so that they've got something coming from it as well, and that's how they're doing it. So I don't think it's anything to do with the 30%, but then I could be wrong on that one. Maybe they're trying to claw that back as well. But as I said, that's a cost of doing business, and I'm pretty sure they've factored that into the price of the collectibles. So therefore, now let's go back anyway and have a look at MTL ideas, okay? Because this, maybe we can speak to them about this sort of things because they do listen to the community. So, you know, this is just a couple of my ideas that we could possibly do to decrease the fees. And let me know in the comments if you've got any ideas yourself because I'd really love to hear them. But basically, there's a couple of things that I think need changing with this. Firstly, is I think they should increase the price of collectibles and then use that money to offset the cost of the MTL. Because as it stands at the moment, the MTL at 10%, it means that a lot of people are going to look at it and say, I'm not even going to bother. Whereas the people that are already buying the collectibles, they sell out. The collectibles sell out. Whether they're $9, $29, or $60, or $80, or $400, whatever it is, they sell out. And the higher the price of the collectible, the more it sells for in the market anyway. So that's kind of already factored in. So basically, instead of doing like the Coke drop at $29.99, maybe they do it at $39.99, and then they use that $10 from every collectible sold to offset the price of the MTL, which means that they can bring the fee down for the MTL because they're making money from the collectibles, which people are willing to buy and are happy to buy at $40. Because if you buy a collectible, say you buy the Coke one at $29.99, you'll find that it probably goes up around about $180, $260, something like that. If you originally buy that for $260, you'll find that it probably goes up to around about $600 or something like that. So it really just depends, or even more. You know, it just depends on what you buy it for in the first place. That seems to also have a little bit of an effect on what people are willing to pay for it further down the line. Is what I'm sort of seeing from the way the market seems to work for me. Again, if you think I'm talking rubbish, let me know in the comments. But I'm thinking if they put the price of collectibles up, they offset that against the price of MTL. Therefore, they can bring the price of the MTL down. A lot more people will be more interested in being able to cash out. Therefore, they'll see it as a viable proposition. They'll go, okay, I'll buy this. It's $40 or whatever. They automatically get $10 to go towards the MTL. They may never cash out using the MTL. They may use a different option. But the point is that they've got that money as well. Now, I suppose you could argue that maybe they won't make as much from that in the long run. Because of the fact that if they're putting a 10% fee, I don't know how much the MTL company charges or anything like that. We don't know any of that sort of stuff. So, you know, it's very hard for us to do these figures and do these ideas. But that's just my personal feeling. If they did that, then maybe that would go a little way to helping it out for the people who, you know, who don't want to lose so much money, essentially, because you're losing a lot. Imagine if you went to a casino and you were playing roulette, because a lot of people said, well, you know, we're already making huge gains. Why are you complaining about that small amount? And you've put in 50, you've managed to get $3,000. That's brilliant. You should be happy with that. Well, that's true. However, you go to a casino, an online casino, and you could say, oh, it's not the same because it's betting. Well, it's kind of betting anyway. You're betting on the collectible going up, aren't you? You're basically buying this thing on the chance that it goes up so you can then sell it higher. So therefore, you go to a casino, you put $50 down on roulette. You hit a really good number and you get $5,000. If that casino then turned around to you and said, okay, to change it to your bank account, you now have to pay 25% of it, are you going to be happy? Probably not, I'm guessing. You don't mind paying a wire fee, or you don't mind paying a fee that you need to pay to be able to get it out, but to pay 25% of it, I think you're not going to be that much happier to do it. And I think that, again, it would put a lot of people off even going to casinos if it was a 25% cash out fee. So, you know, that's just my personal opinion on it. As I said, let me know what you think in the comments below. Decrease the minimum to 1,000 as well. That's what I'm thinking, because I'm thinking they may do this anyway. When we were talking on one of my streams, Matty Lambert, who is one of the people who comes to the streams all the time and supports the channel, so thank you very much to him. Shout out to Matty Lambert. He basically said that it seems like that 1,000 will be something they put in at the start, and then that will gradually decrease over time, which makes a lot of sense, to be honest, because that way you don't have as much friction when it's trying to cash out. Because at the end of the day, as I said, I've got friends of mine who want to buy stuff, but they won't even contemplate it now because of the fact that 1,000 to cash out, they're never going to get near to that. They don't intend to. They just wanted to buy a collectible and have it as a thing. You know, he's a fan of James Bond. That's what he wanted. He just wanted to have it as a thing. He wasn't doing it to speculate that it was going to go up. It would be nice if it went up, but he wasn't doing it for that. But to know that he would be able to cash out if he can't get it or whatever without literally losing all of his money, it's, you know, otherwise you go to a casino and you bet all your money just to lose it, wouldn't you? You know, but that's not the idea of this thing. You're supposed to be buying something you like, but if you can't buy it, which seems to be the issue. Although having said that, I guess the new drop system may put a pin in this as well, because the thing is with the new drop system, once you've been allocated that collectible and nobody's fighting to get it, you can then probably just load your gems if you get the collectible. You can just buy it like you would a normal transaction. Whereas at the moment, everybody has to preload gems, and that is the issue, isn't it? You know, for a longest period of time, I didn't like preloading gems because I didn't want to think that I've got money tied up in the app. Now, it's a bit different now because there's a drop every day, and therefore, you know, it doesn't matter. You know, you miss it that day, you go for it the next day, it's fine. But before, it was once a week. So I would put, say, 50 gems into the app, and then, or 100 gems or whatever to buy something, and then if I didn't get it, then that meant I had to roll that 100 gems over to the next week and the next week and the next week and the next week until I won something. Not everybody's going to want to do that, in my opinion. So, you know, I understand there's probably a lot of fees involved with it. And as I said, let me know what you think in the comments. I'm not complaining about it. I think it's great that I can buy something for that amount. But at the same time, I think they need to do a little bit of looking at it. I think they need to listen to the community. Whoops, just turned my microphone off. Now, I'm not talking about just complaining at them saying, hey, this is too expensive. But incidentally, somebody did say on Instagram to David Yu directly and said to him something along the lines of, David, what's with these fees? 10% is a lot. And David said that they're going to talk to the MTL provider and they're going to try and get a better rate. And if they can, then those savings will be passed on to the Veve community. So, you know, at least they are trying to do something about it. I think I guess once the MTL starts rolling out and people start using it and the MTL provider realizes what's happening and how much money they can make, then they'll start reducing the fee based on that. You know, at the end of the day, fees normally start high and then start getting lower based on the amount that you use it, doesn't it? So, you know, maybe that can be a saving grace for us as well. But anyway, we've come to the end, finally. So that was a little rundown of hopefully the differences on the MTL. From what I can gather, from my workings out there, like I said, they may be pretty shoddy. They're not amazing. But just giving a quick breakdown, it seems that the difference between cashing out with the MTL now and waiting until you know, Q3 when you can do it with OMI is really not that much different. Like $40 or something like that is the amount you're going to save based on gas fees and all that kind of thing. So, you know, when you look at it that way, when people say, oh, well, just wait for the MTL, no, wait for the OMI, that's going to be your thing, then maybe not. Because it's going to be a similar thing. The good thing about with the OMI, with transferring it from each other, is that, you know, some of it's going to burn along the way as well. You're going to be burning 0.5% on every transaction and that kind of thing. So, you know, that's all good as well. But anyway, this video has been far too long. So, therefore, I hope you got something out of it. I hope you didn't, you know, get bored of me, or maybe you put me on 2-speed or something like that. But anyway, don't take this as financial investment advice in any way, shape or form. You can see I don't really know my numbers. I'm just kind of throwing them out there as numbers that are possibilities. But as I said, it's not a guarantee because of the fact that there's so many different variables that we just can't comprehend. So therefore, the only way you're going to be able to find out exactly what it's going to cost you and how much it will be when you buy your collectible is to try the MTL and cash out and work it out as you go. So, because obviously the thing is as well, you might sell, say, a Superman and you might sell a Disney moment. and you might end up with 50 grand in your account. But the thing is that 50 grand, a lot of it came from Superman, and a lot more came from you know, the Disney moment. But Superman didn't have a fee, whereas the Disney moment did. So you see what I mean? It's gonna be hard to figure out exactly what fees you've got and all that kind of thing. But obviously that's up to you to do and not up to me. So, but I just thought I'd give you a little rundown of what I thought, and yeah, let me know what you think in the comments, because I'd really love to know what you think about the ideas that I've put up as well. And if you've got any ideas that we can put forward to Veve as well, because you know we've got the AMAs all the time. They're kind of casual now with recent. Not Dan. Dan and David obviously make an appearance occasionally, but we got Reese and Alex who are doing the casual ones now as well. So it's really cool to be able to just have a chat with them and see, and maybe, you know, some of us can come up with some ideas of how they can offset the cost or whatever, so it makes it better for everyone. But you know, as I said, let me know what you think. Don't take it as financial advice. Crypto can go up, it can make you loads of money, or it can go down and you completely lose your shirt. But that is essentially crypto. Thank you very much, and I will see you on the next video. Bye bye for now.